Hi guys, I'm Arnel, and today we're going to look at ED, ING adjectives. For example, bored, boring, interested, interesting, frustrated, frustrating. Are these adjectives? Yes. Is there a difference? Big difference. At the end of this lesson, I'm going to give you a mini test. So today you'll improve your grammar and hopefully learn some new vocabulary as well. First things first, what's an adjective? An adjective is a word that describes a noun. Here I have a cup of coffee. A small cup of coffee. Oh, a beautiful small cup of coffee. You can see my two adjectives, small and beautiful. In English, we have special ED, ING adjectives. That's an interesting house. I'm interested in buying that house. Are these past, present, or future adjectives? Remember, in English, adjectives do not show time. So, interested might look like a verb, but it's not. Interesting might look like a verb, but again, it's not. So, what's the difference between interested and interesting? ED, ING. ED. This is my emotion. ING. This gives me the emotion. I am exhausted. Why? Because my day was exhausting. My emotion. The day gave me this emotion. I'm describing the day. I am annoyed. Annoyed means a little bit angry. I'm annoyed because the fly is annoying. My emotion. The fly gives me this emotion. I'm describing the fly. The students were fascinated. Fascinated means extremely interested. Fascinated. Fascinated. Why were the students fascinated? Because the science experiment was fascinating. The students' emotion? The experiment gave them this emotion. I'm describing the experiment. Here, I have a book. I think this book is interesting because, well, I think it's boring. I think it's confusing. I think it's depressing. Okay, there's one book and 4 different descriptions. I think the book's interesting. She thinks it's boring. She thinks it's confusing. She thinks it's depressing. We are describing the book. The book gives us these emotions. So how are the people feeling? I'm interested. She's bored. She's confused. And she's depressed. Fantastic. I think now you're starting to get a better feeling of these ED, ING adjectives. But you might be thinking, ED for people, ING for things. Not quite. Can we say, she is interesting? He is entertaining? Of course we can, because people can give us emotions. We can describe people. I think Anne is a really interesting person. Before she became a dentist, she was a bouncer. A bouncer is a person who stands outside of a club. They're like the security. Normally they're very big. So I think she's interesting. My boss is not very professional, but he's definitely entertaining. If someone or something is entertaining, it makes you enjoy your time. You're not bored. Last week during a meeting, he started juggling. So I don't think he's very professional, but he's entertaining. I'm never bored at work. Is it a big mistake if I use the wrong adjective? In some situations, the context would make it clear. For example, last week my kids and I did a science experiment. We made a volcano. It was pretty excited. We know this should be exciting. The volcano was exciting because it gave us this emotion. We were excited. If you said, the volcano was excited, nobody is going to think you mean the volcano was excited. Woohoo, I'm a volcano. So, in this situation, there wouldn't really be any confusion. But you really want to get that ending correct, because that little ed-ing ending can completely change the meaning of your sentence. The stand-up comedian was disappointed. The stand-up comedian was disappointing. These sentences look similar, but mean very different things. He was disappointed because only 30 people came to watch his show. This is the comedian's emotion. He was disappointing. I thought his show would be funny, but I didn't laugh at all. I am describing the comedian. He gave me this emotion. The little girl was frightened. The little girl was frightening. The little girl was frightened because she saw a big scary shadow. I watched a horror movie and the little girl was frightening. I had nightmares for a week. Emotions, description. My mom was embarrassed. My mom is embarrassing. My mom was embarrassed. She accidentally slipped on some water and everyone in her office saw her fall. My mom is so embarrassing. She always dances in front of my friends. So embarrassing. The emotion, the description. I was amazed. I was amazing. I went on a whale watching boat and was amazed by the size of the whales. Amazed means surprised and impressed. Wow, I was amazing. The audience loved me. The emotion, the description. Okay, before we move on to the test, let's look at a common mistake. My students have an exam. They are stressful. My job makes me stressful. I am stressful. Here we have the adjective stressful. Obviously, it's not an ed or ing adjective. If you are describing a person's emotion, you must use stressed, ed. My students have an exam. They are stressed. My job makes me stressed. I am stressed. Only use stressful for a situation. I spent weeks completing my visa application. It was so stressful. This situation. The pandemic has been a stressful time for many people. Stressful. So you can see, not all ed adjectives have the ing equivalent or vice versa. So what can you do to learn all of these special adjectives? In the description below, I'll give you a list of the most common ed ing adjectives. If you can learn that list, you'll be fine. Okay, let's do a mini test so you can review what you've learned. Number 1. Were you when you got the job? Were you surprised? Did you feel surprised? Were you surprised when you got the job? Number 2. I took my boyfriend to an art museum. He was so bored. He was so bored. He felt bored. He wanted to go home. Here, technically, boring is correct, But you don't mean he's a boring person. You mean he was bored. He felt this way at the art museum. With bored and boring, you really want to make sure you get the right form. I mean, you don't want this to happen. Last week, I took my boyfriend to an art museum. He was so boring. Yeah, your boyfriend can be boring. He can be so boring. Boring? No, bored. He was so bored. Oh. Number 3. Definition: extreme damage, emotionally or physically. A death in a family is always devastating. This situation causes a lot of pain. We are describing the situation. It's always devastating. Number 4. Definition: too much to do, too much to think about. To be honest, I have to work and study and take care of my parents. Overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed. I have too many things to do. There we go. Let me know in the comments below how you did on the test. And check out the list of the adjectives below and try to give me an example in the comments. Okay, this video was short and sweet. I hope you learned something new today, and I can't wait to see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye!